This
You
man
bitch,
is
you
always
bitch,
rushing you
waiting
live
for
now.
me, dude. You bitch. Oh shit! All right. Welcome to the greatest college queen campus in existence. I'm here with the boys to men. I keep forgetting we're men now. We matured since the last time you saw us, especially last what was that, Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday we got
Saturday,
we got some truth bombs dropped on us.
truth bombs. We had a bonding experience in a sauna. No, I'm joking. But anyways,
I couldn't go to no sauna, bro. I can't do that shit. I'd actually
It's so
not.
relaxing. You got to, bro.
Nah,
That's just so
I
relaxing.
cannot do sauna, bro. It's just a hot box, and I don't like being hot. Like I would not
you were
enjoy
in
it.
that hot tub. You were in
Gotta
that
sweat
hot
your
tub.
balls
Yeah, and I
off,
kept
man.
getting out of the hot tub. Did you not notice? Like I would sit there, I'd get out, I'd get back in, get out, get back. It was. I don't want to sit there for too long.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm here with oh yeah, the man in pink who always pours himself a drink, and when he shoots a shot, it sinks. He's wearing pink again. I had to
I'm indeed wearing pink again.
The human calculator with the numerical nomenclature. Raytron, uno, dos, tres. That was six, but whatever. Anyways, the man with the plan, the ultimate Nas fan, the electric jolts, E to the J. Right. How you guys doing, man?
I had to get back to Tesla, bro. Sad, sad.
That was a
When did
fun
you have to
ride.
do
What?
that? When did you have to do that?
Well, today I was done.
Oh.
I was borrowing
Did
it.
you only got to use it once?
Uh, Personally, yes.
That
But I mean,
sucks.
like, I didn't rent it for myself, so I rented it for my mom. So she needed to borrow, she needed a car real quick, so I got her a car for the week. Now she's all settled up. She didn't need it no more, so I brought it back.
Mm. Yeah. What about you, EJ? What you been up to?
Same old. Uh, just been, working.
You got a case of the Mondays.
Yeah, yeah. It was today was today was interesting. I won't elaborate on as to why, but it was all right. It was all right. Standard day, standard Monday.
Yeah, today was interesting for me too. Had some interesting conversations. Um, some very interesting. There were just moments. Women are very interesting. That's all I'm saying. Where it's like as you're talking to them, you can kind of tell when they're really. Oh, I got my ass kicked in Smash today as well. By the way, she challenged me to Smash.
And you didn't use the
And,
block button?
oh shit! That's what I should have just kept doing. I don't know.
Challenge
Fuck.
you to smash and you ain't smash. That's crazy.
I mean, she want to smash. She know where I'm at. I'd smash her. Why not? And I hope she never sees this, but
But yeah,
smash.
no, just smashes, just block. That's it. That's it.
Oh, well,
That's the
I mean, I
game.
was doing pretty well for someone who didn't know what the fuck they were doing, and she gave me a handicap because the side of the switch that I had, I didn't know how to fucking use that
Oh, you
thing.
using a Joy-Con? Yo,
Yeah,
bro, she gave you a Joy-Con and you don't know what you're doing. She actively put downfall, bro.
yeah.
Who was she? Who was she even?
She chose the first time. She chose who was it? I'm trying to remember. She chose Kirby at one point, but she didn't remember how to use it
What
though.
do you mean you don't know how to use Kirby, nigga? Down B. That's it. The fuck?
Is
That
it
was
is it Kirby the best character to use when you're just starting out in that game?
No.
Like he's a good beginner character.
No, not at all.
Mm.
Um,
But I did pretty well when I got Captain Falcon. Then I started doing well.
Falco Bond.
Yeah, I just kept punching her and kicking her and
Yeah,
punching
no.
and kicking.
Smash is not a good fighting game. It's really just like, oh, this character is only good at this one. That's all I'm doing, bro.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I'm not doing anything else.
But
Mix
anyways,
ups, none of that. Just this. But the character she picked, she's probably busted ass character, bro. Because one person I know does that. I like what? I don't even like playing Smash, but they'll play fucking Robin, right? That's a mage who like from across the map, like throwing fireballs and lightning and
I
shit.
think she did use that guy at one point.
And I was just like, you fucking bitch.
Yeah, 'cause I was pointing out to her. I was like, one of the people I was fighting with her. I don't remember the guy's name, but I was like, oh, he reminds me of Kratos because he just kept like throwing shit at me from, like you said, from far away, and I couldn't get close to him. But I just started hopping around to get close to her, and then
Yeah.
that's how.
And then if that doesn't work, there's just like, bro, the DLC characters are just all busted. Pyra, like they can switch between a heavy hitter and a fast hitter. I'm just like, bro,
Then she
literally
told me,
one move this fucking Pyra bitch got literally just starts like blinking across the map and dealing damage. I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do about that? Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? It's
she
fucking
told me something
stupid.
I didn't know, and it made me feel stupid.
What?
I didn't know that you had to play story mode to unlock all the characters.
I mean, yeah, like
I didn't know that.
I don't think you needed to do. No, I think you need to do that in Brawl too.
Yeah,
But
I
most of
had
the
no.
times, they really just be giving that shit to you because they realize that Smash is not. No one gives a fuck about the storyline, bro. No one gives a fuck. They were like, give me all the characters. I'm just trying to play. Like Smash is the game that carried the Nintendo Wii U. Yeah, the Wii U is the worst console to ever exist, but it had a Smash that was unique to that console. So you needed the console to play it. Everyone bought the console just to play Smash.
Mm,
It's crazy. I'm telling you that shit was garbage.
yeah.
People forget it exists. People think it's Wii and Switch. Nah, there's a Wii U in the middle.
But speaking of Smash, me and Raekwon's girlfriend. Yeah, but
I'm my
speaking
girlfriend no more.
like, okay, I was about to make it. Remember that thing I sent you? The guy singing outside the woman's house in
Yo,
Spanish? And then the
I think
guy
I saw
comes
that
up.
before you sent it to me, and I was like, "Yo, come
Yeah,
on,
yeah, I've
bro."
seen it a lot of times.
It's like, "Come
Coach Greg Adams.
on, bro."
Yeah, Coach Greg uses it a lot
And he
to
kept
make fun of.
singing too.
Yeah, but then at the end he starts doing it like some on some like I'm gonna finish anyway shit. He starts singing louder. Real goofy stuff. Real goofy stuff. But speaking of men
And the
doing goofy
guys
stuff,
there just like, this guy's good. He's like, you paid for this?
but speaking of men doing goofy stuff, I wanted to have a conversation about masculinity today and like healthy masculinity, right? So the way I'm gonna start this is I'm gonna ask you guys if you think like what are your opinions on masculinity? Like what is
Um,
masculinity to you guys?
it's funny because I was actually having a conversation with a girl about this, and I was like, regardless of what kind of guy it is, we can all kind of agree on like what masculinity means in general. Like I'm talking about like all guys in general can kind of agree that masculinity just means kind of like bettering yourself for the people around you, like for the people you love, right? Like that was the general idea of it. Like regardless of how you go about it, that's the main goal. So that's what I genuinely believe it is, right? And I asked her, I was like, well, is there a definition that you believe all women would agree for femininity? And she was like, no.
She's lying, but whatever.
She was like,
That's
no.
understandable, but whatever. What about you, EJ? What is your opinion on masculinity? What do you think it is?
I don't know. I feel like my perception on it has changed over the years. Because honestly, as I was growing up, everybody tells you the idea of what being a man is or how you should be in certain situations. But I feel like now that I'm a young adult and I got more experience under my belt, and I know that a lot of people that was telling me shit was bullshitting, um, or just wanting you to be something that you don't have to be. Uh, I started looking at being like I started looking at what being masculine is, like the traits that are masculine to be something that honestly every person should have regardless of gender. Like I started looking at it as like what somebody would consider to be a man, right? Somebody that is independent, could provide for themselves, self-sufficient, um, stands up for himself, doesn't take crap from people to a degree. Um, but again, like those traits I described, you could apply that same traits to someone that's a woman, and you would want them to be independent, and you would want them to stand up for themselves. So I started thinking that it's not really just a gender thing, but it's just a certain attitude to have, a certain approach to have to life.
Mm. Would you agree? Would you agree though that on some level there are some traits related to, like, say, traits that are considered masculine that men,
That only
epit-
men can have.
yeah, that men epitomize more than women, or would you say that like, just like, I know based on your personal opinions what you believe, but I'm saying, like, based on objective reality in front of you, do you think the traits you described are more epitomized by men that you see, or more often by women?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate to be honest that some of those traits you see more prominent in men, and that, like I said, that's just a product of uh what society, how society views the role that men and women should play. Um, that women are raised a certain way, men are raised to be a certain way. So it's not that women can't um demonstrate those traits. It's just that some of them don't even seem to want to even demonstrate them because a lot of times they don't have to.
Mm,
Like if I had to give an example, one of them like being independent. There's a guy that's ready to swoop in, being Superman and give her the life she dreamed of. So even if she had the ability to do those things on her own, um, would she still even want to if somebody's willing to do that for her and carry that burden?
mm.
So I think the masculine traits, um, usually see across men more because men decide to take that on. Even when a woman tries to, uh, even when a woman wants to like provide for herself and demonstrate, you always see those some guys be like, "Nah, I got it," or "Nah, let me handle it." Like, let me carry the bags upstairs, or let me do this, let me do that.
Mm.
So, um, it's that's just how society is really constructed. But like I said before, I think regardless of gender, you they both can wield those traits. It's just a matter of are they actually going to?
Mm. What about you, Ray? Do you think that these traits are more epitomized by men or women, or is it even?
I definitely don't think it's even. There are certain traits that people in general have to like you can just watch and you will see certain genders exhibit more traits leaning toward one side than the other. And there might be that odd one or two people out, right? But like those are usually the exceptions, not the rule. Off the top of my mind at the top of my mind, it's usually some shit like if there's a dangerous situation or like a situation where you need to be wary of what's
Protected.
going around. I don't want to say
Yeah.
that word specifically, right? Like you just need to be wary of what's going around. Like you will see a lot more men are worried about the group instead of the individual. But it's just stuff like that.
Not me. Nah, numero uno, buddy. You know.
Mm.
No, no, that's definitely true because even I remember as Sigma Supreme as I can be, right? Fucking yo, I remember the one time I was with a group and, like, the story I told you guys where the guy was kind of making the girl uncomfortable. I took on the superhero role and then regretted it. I was like, why the fuck did I do that? It was
It's
unconscious.
fucking
I did it.
it's yeah, like you see some shit go south and it's like, yo, bro. Like you try to de-escalate. You're like,
Yeah,
I don't want this to go any which way. It's like you try to
yeah,
de-escalate.
yeah.
And like for a moment you actually stop worrying about yourself and like, well, if this guy does some crazy shit, everyone like you really just like stop worrying about yourself at that moment.
Yeah, because part of it is you assume that you can handle yourself. As your first thought in your head, you're like, "Oh, I can handle myself," but I don't know about them. But to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, I've done that with smaller men too. Like when I say small, I don't even mean in terms of size. I mean smaller in terms of, like, they just were weaker and that kind of thing. Like if we were in a situation where something went down, I would become more protective of the person because I guess in my mind, I already know that they can't handle it, that they're not going to be able to protect
It's like
themselves.
if we run away, I'm getting away, but that man, he's gonna trip for sure, bro.
He's gonna die. But anyway, um, so I guess the next thing I want to ask you, well, I guess I'll give my opinions on this too. I do believe that.
That's funny though. I don't remember
What?
asking.
All right, guys, that's the end of the show.
Mm.
I'm not kidding. That's just, yo, Oh my god. But anyways, on some keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Where everyone thought he was joking at first, and then he
Bro,
was dead.
I thought he was joking.
Because he was smirking when he said it. Anyways, so my opinions on masculinity and like femininity, I do believe, like you guys said, that they're more exemplified by specific genders, right? I do believe that people can embody both, and I do. Is that? Do you guys hear that? Oh, what am I? What am I?
Yeah, EJ,
Anyways,
say something.
Yo.
oh, I thought he was gonna smile. I was like, "That's not saying nothing."
Yeah, I thought he was just gonna smile. I was like, this nigga gonna look something. You know, something, bro.
Like, yeah. Did you take some before you came here? But anyways, I believe that there are like feminine and masculine energies within everybody, and you have to know how to dip in and out of each in order to navigate through society. Like, this is what I believe. Um, I don't know if I don't necessarily agree that it's unfortunate that one side embodies it more than the other. Sometimes I guess it can be unfortunate
I don't think
because
it's
like
unfortunate at all, because like even the situation I just described to you, we both can't protect each other, bro. That's just not how it works.
yeah. Well, see, but the thing is, like what you described, where you start dipping into the negative, hyperbolic side, where you got a woman who doesn't want to take care of themselves whatsoever, and they're relying on these gender stereotypes and gender norms to float them on through life. That's an unfortunate situation. It could be fortunate for her for a little while until reality catches up with her, and she can't find men to take care of her anymore. Then it can quickly become
I mean,
unfortunate.
I feel like it's unfortunate for both sides because even when a man, like when they're told to not,
Yeah, and they work through
to always be masculine, to not have any feminine traits, and like they even say that about some guys that grew up by a single mother that they were never taught how to be a man, or they never taught
Oh,
that there was no one in the house to teach them how to be a man. So it's
can I
like,
say something? Can I say something?
go ahead.
So then we got the single mother thing. I think that's 100% fucking true. And here's why I believe it's true. Well, especially within the black community, I think a lot of the men in the black community act the way they do, like very emotional and very like quick to anger and that kind of thing, because I feel like they don't have enough
Yeah,
male father figures and that kind of thing, and they aren't taught how to manage their emotion as well, and like they'll mimic their mothers. And the thing is, it's like a woman can flare up and act crazy easily. Like, she's less likely to get as much pushback as you or I would. Like, if I start flaring up and acting like a psychopath, cops are gonna get called and I'm gonna get my ass beat.
yeah.
It's not gonna look the same. I'm a lot stronger and bigger than your typical woman.
Bro,
It's
look
just
what
not
happened
gonna
when I
look
got a
like.
little heated we were at the bar. I got a little heated. Everyone's looking over. The bartender, not
Yeah,
the bartender, the bouncer came over. He's like, "Yo, what's good?" I was
yeah.
like, "Yeah,
And
we
tongue
just
in
had
cheek,
some
it's
words."
still
And,
okay. Like,
he
it's all right.
understood. He's like, "Yeah, you're drunk. It's fine."
Yeah, I was like, it's all right. I was like, you just got a little heated. We'll be all right. But anyways, the single mother thing. The other thing is,
People were scared.
I think when women are raising a kid by themselves, what ends up happening is they believe they now must act overly aggressive in order to teach the son. Like, they start trying to play the role of
Yeah.
mother and father, and like this is that's a hard role to thrust on a woman in that situation. And especially what happens is, as the kid starts to grow, she really starts to become terrified of her own son, because she starts to realize this guy is stronger than her, and if he lost his shit, he could fucking kill me. Like, he really could kill her if he loses it.
If he was
And I
so
mean, there's plenty of
inclined.
what?
If he was so inclined.
Yeah, and there's actually plenty of stories where you can find stuff like this happening, where a son goes crazy and actually does whoop his mom's ass and that
I
kind of stuff.
mean, just recently, some guy shot his parents out because they didn't get him a VR.
Yeah.
No, I think it was she shot. Think he shot his mom because she didn't get him the VR.
It's not funny, but shit like that always
Bro,
kills
and
me.
he wasn't even concerned. He was like, he called his aunt because like I think he was like in the detention center. And was like, just make sure my video games and stuff is all good. He was worried about that shit. He was real little too.
He was sick.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
was mentally ill.
he's
Yeah,
that is sickness. That is a
yeah.
sickness.
That is a sickness. But fucking I remember there was this crazy story on like Snapped, I think, or something. Well, it was on Oxygen, right? When I was watching Oxygen, this story kills me all the time. this guy, he gets good grades. No, he wasn't. His grades weren't as good as they used to be, and he played sports. I think he played football, right? He asked his dad to buy him a car. His dad didn't buy him the car, so he fucking killed him. And then, like
Mhm.
the reason that story always killed me is because like this kid had the perfect life, and his dad just didn't get him a car, and he got mad and murdered him. I was just like, what the fuck? I
Yeah,
was
shit
like,
like that's crazy to me. I was like, whoa. So you are Chad McChaddison, but he didn't upgrade you to Preston, so you did murk them?
yeah, you just fucking killed your father, ruined your life, lost everything. It's like over a car, bro. Over a car. I was
Man, you could
like,
have got yourself a car. They're
that's
like
what I thought. Like,
they're
if
on
you
the
just
corner of the
waited,
street for free, bro. Just go get
if you,
one.
if you just waited, bro, all you had to do was chill. All you had to do was chill the fuck out. You would have gotten your car. Anyways, yeah, women become scared of their sons, and they start trying to become more aggressive to compensate and to scare their sons. And this teaches their sons how to be aggressive, and it creates this cycle.
Yeah, I was
You
like,
know what
that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
That's not gonna work.
All it does is a lot of the sons come out of, kind of hating their mothers, but not really. It's like it's weird. It's
Yeah,
weird.
no, I know what you mean. It's like they're like, yo, fuck that bitch. But
Yeah.
like that's their mom. Like they'll be like, yo, I hate that woman. But that's moms though.
Yeah. Goofy
Because I
stuff.
think they could still understand that she's doing it out of love, that she's doing this for a reason. But when she tests your gangster, she's testing your gangster, bro. You can't be testing your gangster like that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Man. My mom is lucky she didn't that when I wanted my car, she just gave it to me. She would have got murked. That was just nah. Man, I can't even imagine ever just walking up to my mom and asking her for a car. Like, of course she would say fucking no. She wouldn't have the money to just get me a car out of nowhere. Like it's like a brand spanking new car. It was like a nice car he wanted too. Like it wasn't like just some like used car or something. It was like yeah. But anyways, this gets me to my next question, I guess, and point. Do you guys think there's a necessity for men to be masculine?
Yes.
Hmm. Elaborate.
No.
Oh, is that what
um.
you being masculine?
Um. Nah, I just thought it would be funny because I said one word answer. Um. Nah, I think it's just necessity because, like I told you, my description, or yeah, my description of masculinity is just like being the best you for those around you, right? So like in my mind, like yeah, you need to be like you need to be masculine. You need to be the best you, so you can like be, for lack of a better term, you can be a benefit to those around you, like the people you care about, so you can be fucking useful.
Hmm. You're actually touching on something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt it. I was like, that shit sucks. It's like, oh, I gotta be useful. I
What
have to be useful, bro.
what about you, EJ?
Yeah, I agree. Mainly the first situation I think about is when you or someone else could possibly get harmed, especially if you're with a woman and it's a situation that she's not going to be able to de-escalate on her own, and um you need to be able to step in and defend her like that. That's the easy one. Or just like going back to the whole independent thing, and it falls in line with what Ray was saying, being the best version of yourself, and uh that expresses itself in a number of ways of how to be the best version of yourself. Um, and yeah, I mean, if you wanna, if not that there's a certain goal in mind, but if you're just trying to be, I don't want to say somewhat successful, but if you want to be someone that is likable to others or respected by others, I'll probably say that. You're definitely gonna have to put some of those traits to use.
Hmm.
So
What about your idea earlier though? Wouldn't you believe, like based on your earlier statements, that everyone should be trying to be the best version of themselves to be useful to the people around them?
yeah, but being the best version of yourself is open to interpretation when it comes to certain people. Everybody has their own definition of what that
Yeah,
is.
but I mean like based on the idea because you were saying that your belief of the typical traits of masculinity also apply to women. So wouldn't the idea of being the best version of yourself so you could be useful to other people, wouldn't in your opinion that also apply to women? Women?
I mean, yeah, but certain women might not see it that way. That's what I'm saying. They might not see that they have to adopt or
Uh,
use those masculine traits in order to be useful. For them being useful would just be letting the man take care of everything and giving into what he wants or get or not giving him a hard time or whatever however they see it. It might not fall in line with how I think
yeah.
um they should be. So
Would you say that for women it's necessary to embody the traits that Ray mentioned?
um I mean, I would say it's necessary in relation to my definition.
Mm.
It would be necessary.
Like in general?
Uh but in general, I mean, if somebody's going to give you an opportunity to sit back and kick your feet up, I mean, how is that, is it really
Uh,
necessary?
okay. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it doesn't really seem pertinent in that moment.
Yeah. I
But
see what
if
you're
you but if you have some kind of virtue or discipline or you look at life a certain way, um, and you want to do for yourself, provide for yourself, then clearly then it would be necessary. But if you don't live by that standard, then um, it might not have any relevance.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see what you're talking about there. I mean, I agree with you guys a lot on the idea that like there's like a societal necessity, as you guys mentioned, for men to behave as men. Mainly, like Ray said, the thing comes into where it's like being useful to the world around you comes into play. Being useful to your family, because in some cases, like especially in a situation in like a single mother household, you as a boy, you're not allowed to just be a boy. You now have to become a man. Like you have to shoulder a certain burden because she's not going to be able to do it by herself. So if you have two other siblings, you're their fucking father now for more or less. You got to help raise the kids. You gotta go get another job. You effectively become your mother's surrogate husband. You know what I mean?
It's a little
So it's like,
different though when you're a boy or a girl, because like for me, it wasn't really like raising the kids. It was just
yeah,
like doing shit that she didn't want to do or she was too lazy to do. Right?
yeah,
It was like doing shit like that.
yeah.
Like, oh, go do the laundry, go pick up the groceries, do shit like that. It wasn't like
You're
raising
still
kids.
playing like a surrogate father
But
role,
we're
right?
saying like for example, like my cousin, she was literally a mom. Like
Yeah.
she was taking the kids to school, picking them up from schools, like I mean she was like getting them ready in the morning, like all that shit. She was basically a mother at the ripe old age of like 15.
I mean, I used to have to do, like you said, the typical things like the laundry, the garbage, picking my sister up, bringing her to places, that kind of thing. I didn't really have to like you said, do anything really crazy. Like I've never even changed a fucking diaper in my entire life. To be honest.
Disgusting.
I've
This is
never.
your king. That's your man. That's your masculine man. He don't even know how to change a nappy, bro.
I think I've taken a diaper off, but I haven't put it back on.
That's
I don't
gross.
remember. Um, but and I think I've cleaned the baby like in that area
Bro,
before.
what the fuck? How did you not get to the point where you put that bitch back on then?
I don't remember. I don't know why.
Like you did
But I
all the
do have
steps
like
with the
this.
last one.
I have disjointed memories of taking the diaper off and cleaning, but not of putting it on. I don't remember putting it on.
You know what?
But anyway,
Just like, just let's just say you did. Just say you did.
sure, whatever. I
Yeah,
guess I
let's just
changed
say
that.
you did.
I mean, I do believe that yeah, men from a societal standpoint have this role thrust upon them, and that kind of touches on this thing I watched earlier. There was this video talking about healthy masculinity, and that's kind of the thing they were mentioning. They were saying that this role is thrust upon men by society, but I feel like it's not just society because there's this guy named FD Signifier. He kind of has beef
FD
with everything. Yeah, he has beef with Evan Cruz sometimes, like on some of their trans takes. He's pretty much
on their
your typical,
trans take. What take do they have?
like the
No,
whole
that's a
like,
different thing. That's a different thing. Don't worry about
yeah.
it.
Let's not even get into that right now. But basically, he's your typical black leftist. So he has all the typical opinions you'd expect of some black leftist, right? Um, and like what I remember, in the part of that video they're talking and they're talking about why men are forced to do these things, or at least believe they must be so masculine. And he's like, oh, from a survival, it's like a survival thing, right? And then like they went on to make this point that to exist within like society, like in order, I guess, to remain included and to not be like abused or ridiculed, you have to now embody these masculine traits. But then I was like, nah, it's not. That's not it. I was like, sure, that's part of it. Yeah, you pretend you perform the role of a man so you can fit in more, right? It's a social inclusion. But at the same time, there's literally a survival fucking precedent for you being a male, at least in the human. Like, I'm not gonna make a larger argument like many people do about you know animal species as a whole, but within male species, there's an obvious fucking reason that you act the way you do, right? Like there's biological incentive to you, being a little aggressive, doing the lion's share of the work. Because your body at some point was literally built to do this. Like it's obvious you were built to lift heavy things
You know
and to
what's
do
wild
this.
about that term?
Yeah.
Female lions do all the hunting.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was saying it in our thing. That's why I didn't want to make a larger statement
Yeah.
about animals as a whole, because in different, it differs from species to species. Um, so yeah, it's like there's obviously a genetic what's the word I'm looking for? A genetic predisposition for why men behave the way they do. And this is the thing I think gets so muddled, because people always try to act like it's only social, and I don't think it's only social. It's like me and Ray were just saying. Like no one taught me I had to protect women or anything. It was just something that was in my head.
I don't
And I
even
was like,
necessarily consider it protecting women. It's just like protecting people.
yeah, protecting people. It's like it's something I thought I was supposed to do. Like it's just something that I grew up thinking. Like no one ever had to tell me. It was just something I did. And it's like there's, like I said, there's a social element to this as well, where you're taught these stuff, but then also genetically, it's like it's in you. You know what I mean? Like you're protective, you get jealous, these kind of things. And like another thing in the video that they mentioned about masculinity is why it gets such a bad rap, right? Because that's one thing I hate is like people always, when they start talking about masculinity, they start to conflate it with all these negative traits, right? About being dominant and forceful and aggressive and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, even in the video, like, yeah, even in the video, as they're talking about masculinity, they're saying like it has a tendency to become this kind of thing, or can easily become like that. I'm like, no, I don't think it can easily become that stuff. I really feel like it's just, if you're a fucking asshole, that's how you're gonna behave, right? Because they'll say this shit, right? Oh, men think it's men are socialized to be dominant and domineering and aggressive and violent. And I look at them like, but I know plenty of fucking women, and I see plenty of women doing the same fucking thing. Like, go to any school in the hood, and you'll see those women being way more aggressive and violent to each other than the men ever are. So it's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I think it's just some people are assholes, and they are just there's some domineering assholish people out there, and they're going to be aggressive and try to use violence to get their way.
I always
That's
hated
just
the idea of toxic masculinity because it always felt like they were talking about like a very specific type of person, and
yeah,
they didn't want to just describe that person, so they just decided to describe everybody.
yeah,
And I was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like,
yeah,
because that guy over there decided to be a dickhead, I am now thrown under the bus because me and him both have a dick. That's fucking goofy.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then if
Yeah.
if in the same vein, if men wanted to say anything about a specific type of woman, not all women. What kind of shit is that, bro?
yeah. Not
What
all
kind of shit
women.
is that?
It's like that kind of behavior largely becomes associated with that of a man instead of that of a person. So
Mm-hmm.
like when a woman when a woman does it, it's just like I guess the minority or the outlier, as opposed to if a man does it, it's expected. So when Gio was talking about the women that act domineering in the schools, I mean, it's not something I guess that's seen as normal or used or typical of a woman.
But
Yeah,
it's so weird
yeah,
because like you can clearly find more cases of it than the
yeah.
other
And
way.
Yeah,
I was using a specific example, but no, women in general, they have their same pecking orders. The same way men have their pecking orders and social hierarchies, women are actually worse. Like there are even studies showing that female social hierarchies are actually way more like dramatically enforced than the male ones. So this idea that like this kumbaya bullshit where all women are peaceful and nice and men are these destructive aggressors is completely false. It's like no, it's like some people are just pieces of shit. That's just how it works. And
Indeed.
like it's funny because in the video, right, and this is the part that really got me thinking we got to talk about this because I thought this part was so dumb. Because overall, I agree with the guy's ultimate point, and this is what I'm going to say, right? I believe trying and thinking all the time about what's masculine and trying to be masculine is fucking dumb, right? I do. I feel like if you do that, you're wasting your time, and all you're going to do is end up in the trap of listening to some fake guru tell you a bunch of dumb shit. And he's probably going to tell you the stupid shit that's going to get you in trouble and make you seem like an asshole, right? So, I believe like you shouldn't try to be masculine. It depends on what traits you're trying to embody, I guess. You should just focus on kind of trying to be yourself. You know, I mean, I guess being a bitch and not being a bitch is considered masculine, right? You should generally not be a bitch, you know, sure. But like EJ said, I would say that to anybody. I would say to a woman, don't be a bitch, you know? Like I've done that where I remember one time went to someone's house and we get there and the girl was looking at me and talking about, oh, like, should we wait down here? And I was like we're down the stairs. Like, should we wait down the stairs? Because I texted her and she didn't answer. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, no, we go up the stairs and stand in front of the door like normal people. Like, stop being a bitch. I think I said that to her. I was like, don't be a bitch. You go up to the door and stand in front of it. And she was my way in, so she needed to be there. So that's why I was telling her that. If it was, I would have just done it myself. I would have just walked up there and be like, come on, let's go. And even other times, it's like I'm always trying to inspire people to stop acting so and a lot of time it's women to be honest. Stop acting so I don't want to say cowardly, but like so like non-confrontational. You know what I mean? Where it's like I remember one time a girl, all she wanted was some fucking hand sanitizer, but there were people out there. So I'm just like, go get the fucking hand sanitizer. She's like, oh, but there's so many. I just got up and went and got the hand sanitizer. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's like you just walk, say excuse me, get the hand sanitizer, and come back. So generally speaking, you know, there are certain virtues I guess you should embody, right? And these, if you know, if you're a man, they probably are just going to align with typical masculine traits. If you're trying to be better, that's just what's going to happen. Like it's just that's what's inevitably going to come of it, right? But what was the larger point I was making again? Oh, but what the video said that I thought was so fucking stupid is it's like it was talking about how like you can be performative, right? Because basically, it was the idea that there's like there's a certain philosophies that preach that you should be empty and that you should be able to be what's the word I'm looking for? You should focus on being empty. That way you can be flexible and shift with to which and shift to whatever the circumstances need in the moment, right? So you're not supposed to stay so rigid. You're supposed to be able to shift whenever it's needed. And in order to do that, you have to become empty. Like you can't have this rigid sense of identity that's actually, what do you call it? Limiting. That's the idea, right? So what they were preaching was they were saying that it shouldn't be like they were agreeing you shouldn't try to be masculine, but you can like do these little things that appear masculine, like the kind of masculine stuff, like working on cars and chopping wood and stuff and do those kind of stuff if it makes you happy. But then in my head I was like, but then that's not really masculinity, is it? Like this idea that there's no such thing as masculinity, I think is dumb. I was like, just doing some dumb performative stuff isn't really being masculine. I mean, sure, maybe if you want to keep it open to interpretation, but it's like if we're talking about it in terms of like the way we were talking about as a whole, that being masculine is of being of service and doing things for the larger community, right? And I guess
But if you do something with the intention of trying to be masculine, right?
yeah,
As opposed to just doing something because naturally that's what you feel like your moral obligation is, or that's what you should do. Is that masculine then? Even if that might be seen as a masculine trait, you're just doing it
Well, I would say
not for the sake of trying to be a man or to portray masculinity, but you're just doing it.
I think that's the thing. I don't think you should be chasing masculinity per se. You should just be chasing being authentic to yourself and chase, these like chase evolution, chase evolving as a person, that kind of thing. That's what you should be doing. If you're trying to think of it in like these rigid terms, like I'm gonna try and be masculine, you're just gonna limit yourself. Like you're not
Yeah.
gonna grow as a person. You're just gonna be becoming a stereotype, right? But the other thing is what they were saying is you're also becoming a stereotype. Is why I thought that other thing was stupid. I was like, you're not being masculine in their scenario either. You're just doing stereotypically masculine things, I guess, because they make you feel warm inside. But like on a larger level, I really feel like the traits that we talked about that masculinity typically embodies are 100% necessary. I really think society is built on the back of these traits. So if you start teaching men that they don't have to do these things, that they just all they need to do is appear masculine, you're just gonna have a broken society because they're not gonna be doing the things they're supposed to do. They're just gonna they're just gonna do like this performative stuff. And they're not because like even if you want to say like one of the arguments they made was that like this idea of like working hard and wanting to always be of use, thinking of yourself in terms of like how useful you are can be damaging to your mental health, right? But I was like, these are the same traits that help build the societies you're in. If men didn't think that way, and if some women didn't think that way, how the fuck is this society built, right? Like when all these men went off to the war, right, and women had to go work in factories and stuff. Imagine if in their minds instead they were just like, life isn't really about being useful. We can just relax and calm down and take it easy. And it's just like, American society would have fell apart. It's like, no, people had to step up to the plate and do what was necessary and do what had to be done. So I don't know, man. Like this issue is like so nuanced, but people like it's like people come at it as if masculinity in itself is a dangerous idea. And if you are too masculine, you become dangerous. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
That I find it to be unfortunate for both sides because it's like when you try to chase it for that image, right? When you're chasing those traits because you want to come off as that, um, it leads to this identity crisis that a lot of people go through, where they start to question who they are or who they have to be in the sake of trying to appear that way to others or trying to live up to that standard that society has. So you take away more from who you actually are or the person that you are at your core. And you've seen it, probably all you guys probably seen it, where people will give up their interest that they originally had and try to develop new ones that align with a masculine person. Like when you were saying that you knew this guy. I don't know if you met him in middle school or something, but you were saying that he was a good drawer, um, and he was into comics and just as much as you at the time, and then he ended up chilling with some hood niggas, and then he ended up just giving that stuff up, and maybe he felt the need to do that because people were probably, um, you know, like criticizing him or saying he was lame or he wasn't a man or he
100.
wasn't, yeah, like his behavior wasn't in line with that of a man. So he felt like he had to,
Yeah, they were saying he
yeah,
was acting like a little boy and shit.
exactly. So it's like you want to be masculine at times when, especially when the situation calls for it, or just being in service to others. But you also want to be yourself, and that might not exactly fit the description
Yeah.
that masculinity is. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
it's it's
yeah,
tough to navigate.
that's why I'm like, you don't chase it. Like you said, I believe being useful in general to everyone around you is it's a noble pursuit. And I don't know why we've entered this reality where people are now trying to act like um this idea of trying to be useful to others is like the most toxic thing ever. And it's like it's really
It's
not.
because they
Like
don't need no man, bro.
yeah, true. No, but even women now want to act like being useful to people is like a toxic thing that can destroy your life. And it's like it really isn't. Like
Bro,
there's a difference
honestly,
between,
I
yeah,
generally do think it's because we just live in some real peaceful times. That's it.
yeah,
We live in such peaceful times cause these sorts of issues to pop up. Where
yeah,
you're like questioning like what are you doing? Like you said in the wartime, like yeah, it was obvious like people in the war had to do things. It's like because if they didn't step up, they weren't going to eat. So it wasn't no option, right? It wasn't like,
yeah,
oh, you can go do that. I'm gonna go sit down and sip on the mimosas at the no. Like you, it was put up or die. Like you were like we needed people in the factories. We needed people in the schools. We needed people. So you'd stand up and do shit. Now we have an influx of people. We have too many people to do things, right? If you don't do it, someone else really will. Like that's not even like a philosophical question anymore. It's just a fact of life now, right?
yeah.
Two, there's a lot of shit that just doesn't need to be done. Like, how many times have you told me that all these XYZ jobs that are just kind of there just so they're there? Bro, that's why layoffs are happening. Like, companies are auditing themselves and they're like, wait, why do I have 13 project managers so they can sit in meetings and talk about how they are all product managers? Like, it's fucking goofy, bro. It's goofy. And, like, bro, I was a product manager where I was literally sitting in a meeting and everyone was there. We were shooting the shit. I was like, yo, you dead ass taking time out of my workday to shoot the shit? I don't know none of y'all. I don't want to know none of y'all. They were all from different orgs, but we all technically might have had the same program running. And we weren't talking about the program. We were literally just they were just there being catty, like, oh man, I hate when my clients do this. I hate when my clients do that. And I was like, shut the fuck up.
Bunch of
I
white,
didn't want to be there.
bunch of white people.
No, yes and no. Like it was just like
Oh,
it
it
was a good
sounds like a very
mix.
white people
It was
kind of thing.
it was a good mix of
Oh,
them both.
like they're like, oh my god, my client every time, you know, like
Because it wasn't one client; it was like their clientele really.
oh yeah,
And bro, and we had such vastly different clientele. It was like, all right, like the solutions. Because some people, oh, what I did was this. It was like that wouldn't work for me at all because they were dealing with like super rich clientele, and I was like, well, I'm dealing with crack addicts. That's not gonna work. And like, bro, I'm not even joking. I was literally dealing with crack addicts. It was just, and bro, like I had like fucking 6 of those meetings a week, and I was like, yo, bro. And then my boss was
God,
like, well, you haven't gotten all this other things done. It's like, because you
wait,
keep
maybe
sending
you
me these
should have had
fucking useless meetings. It
you
was
should
stupid.
have had a meeting with product management, crackhead project managers.
Bro, it really got to a point where I was like, I gotta track down some of these drug dealers and tell them to relax. I was like,
Told them to
we're
check
gonna have
out
to carve out some, we're gonna have to gerrymander
all,
some districts here, bro.
all of the drug dealers and have a fucking meeting. It's a
Nah,
fucking joke.
it would honestly have been more useful than sitting there talking to those people. It would have
You
honestly
get
been more useful.
just imagine like some fucking guy sitting at the table. He's like, "You see what you got to do to get in these users' heads, man. You gotta." He's like explaining to you how to understand the crackhead. He's like, "Yo,
Ugh.
you can buy my book on it, The Mind of the Crack Addict."
But so yeah, like it is at a point where we can just sit down and generally just relax. And besides self detriment, nothing happens. Like society's gonna keep marching forward. So of
It's like
course, sit
it's like
there.
Tyler Durden said, "We're the middle children of history. Like we have no war to fight, no big goal really. It's like we're just sitting here, like living and coasting off of the accomplishments that happened prior, you know." And then part of it is sad because all the advancements we have now really feel like they impede our freedom even more. Like it's fucking insane. It's like something happened within the last few years where the freedoms we have, it's like technology gives you like this illusion of freedom, but it's taking it away. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, think about the internet. Like, yeah, I can go and download whatever I want or do whatever I want, but I'm also being tracked like crazy. So if I actually do download whatever I want, I go to federal prison because technically that piece of data was owned by this one person over there on that side,
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
and you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, I ain't
And
know
then
all that.
it's practically a fucking experiment. They're using the thing to see how your fucking brain works and to figure out how to control you.
I
You
mean,
know?
yeah, bro, did you hear about the social currency shit that's going on in China?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where like their SWAT of fucking CCTV cameras are being used, where it's like,
Yeah.
damn,
Fucking,
you littered that once, lower your credit score,
yeah.
and you're
And
just
then
like,
Google
what?
got in trouble when people were getting mad at Google when they were finding out that Google does this all the fucking time and that it tests things and just gives people different user experiences to see what they're gonna do and how they're gonna react. And people got mad, like you're treating us like we're lab rats, and it's like they've been doing this for centuries, you fucking idiot. Like
Also,
it's
that's just how product design works. I don't have to tell you.
exactly. But you
Like,
can understand why someone would get a little
yeah,
mad.
I can understand because Instagram does it. All software companies do that. Where they're like, do people like this or not? I don't know. We're gonna have to like literally ask them, but we can't just ask them because then you're gonna get biased. So you just blindly
You
try it,
put in
bro.
secret,
If you ever
yeah.
wonder why your Instagram looks different from your friend's Instagram, it's because they're testing some shit right now, bro. If your
Yeah.
message button is on the left but theirs is on the right or on the top, it's because they're testing some shit right now. It's not because you didn't update or they updated. It's no. They're testing some shit right now.
Yeah, something like that happened to me the other day. Where the girls, well, I don't have Uber anymore, but something about her Uber was different. And it brought that memory to mind. I was like, oh, I wonder if she is receiving a new version of the app. But generally speaking, like you said, society doesn't really have a necessity, or at least we don't know we have a necessity because whenever people try to act like gender norms don't exist, as soon as a situation arises, like you guys mentioned, suddenly gender norms come right back into fucking play. The same things we were pretending don't exist come right back into play. When the woman now gets with a man, she suddenly assumes the role of the typical woman, and he assumes the role of the typical man. Well, we don't even do it; we do it unconsciously. And but then the same woman will now be in your face saying all this nonsense about how there's no such thing as gender and you're just a bigot and all that kind of stuff. Then she'll go home to her husband and curl up on his lap like she's a fucking cat and all that shit, you know? Um, and it's crazy because even in the video I was watching, they mentioned this where they're like, oh, even though there's more women entering fields that are typically dominated by men, within society, it's not really the same. Like as in like people still embody gender stereotypes within large society, and they're like, oh, it's because the internet and the internet forces people to perform. And I was like, or it's just fucking biological.
The
We just
internet,
admit
the
that
internet forces people to perform. The internet doesn't force people to do anything.
yeah, they were trying to make the argument that we're performing for each other on the internet, and that's part of why
I
people
mean,
still
technically,
those.
right? But it's not like they're forcing. Like, if I wanted to make an account and pretend, say, I could literally go and make an account, pretend I'm Mr. Beast. I just pretend I'm Mr. Beast, right?
Yeah,
And if that shit blew up, then that's what they wanted, right? Like that's what
yeah,
they wanted. They didn't want me to actually be Mr. Beast. They just wanted someone like Mr. Beast, you know?
yeah. Then you're touching on something. Well, we're about to touch on something else. So even in society as a whole, this idea that you have to be male on the internet in order, I guess, to not face social exclusion is 100% wrong
What are you talking
because
about?
look at
What
niggas like
study?
James Charles. Yeah,
What study are you even talking about? Because that shit sounds false to
no, it
me.
wasn't a study. It wasn't a study. It was a guy. It was like a guy writing about this, and the
Tell
big.
that nigga to, rescind his book, bro. Because that shit sounds goofy as fuck
Send
to
this
me.
book is great.
That's what I was gonna
Send
say.
this book.
And then I was thinking in my head, I was like, why is it okay for like men cannot strive to be masculine or strive to embody certain masculine traits without being called toxic, right?
Hmm.
And if women are told to, or if women want to embody certain feminine traits, women try to coach them out of it and try to shame them out of doing that. But when you're now trying to supposedly embody the sexual identity that you weren't born in, suddenly now it is okay. It is okay for the butch lesbian chick to overtly try to act male all the time and act aggressive with me for no fucking reason as I enter into her fucking. You know how many times I've encountered these butch lesbians, like usually in school settings because they always work in schools. Like you're talking to her and she's like, "How can I help you, sir?" "Oh, sir, you're not gonna be able to." And I'm like, "Bitch, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you pressing me? Like, look, I know you. You sat there stuffing your face to put on some pounds so you could wear bigger clothes and trying to act like you're beefy. But yo, if you want to throw the hands, I'm gonna beat your ass. Like
You
it's
know what's
like
funny? It's funny that I had such an opposite experience today when I went to the DMV. And this security guard, she was just so happy and bubbly. And she literally was bouncing, bro. She was literally bouncing. Like she like walked over, like bouncing to me. And she was like, "Oh, you need this, you need this. Oh, go over there." And I was just like, "What a great experience this was." It was like one sentence. I was like, "Yo, bro, 5 stars, bro. This is amazing."
Yeah.
Especially it was early in the morning. It's fucking 8 a.m. and she was all chipper and shit. I was like, "This bitch need a raise."
I'm just wondering, do you guys see what I'm talking about though? About the
Oh no, I never met none of that shit. None of that shit.
No, I'm saying no, forget that part. That's just me making a generic point. And you've met those aggressive fucking let's say we'll say even feminist types who are trying to prove that you and them can stand toe to toe because I guess they're lesbian or gender neutral or some bullshit. You even counted at least one of those motherfuckers, right? Usually with a stupid haircut or something. I don't know. I don't know if EJ is in
I don't
college.
think they've ever really been like challenged me.
Oh yeah, they don't challenge you overtly, but they'll like do this
It's
thing.
kind of like loud and aggressive, yeah.
Yeah. They never challenge you overtly.
So are the straight one, bro. I went to a liberal college, bro. Every time it was a class.
Yeah,
bro,
that's
they
what I
were
mean.
just like they were. Oh, bro, they always just start yelling, and like I realized I also get a little loud when I'm like talking about something passionately. But I mean, like they are always yelling. They would just be talking like they won't even be talking to no one else. They're just like, well, I believe that 2 + 2 is 4 because I was like, yo, what the fuck, my nigga, really?
Or the woman when I was walking down St. Mark's, and she's like fucking parade marching down the thing, and I see her try to move out of her way, and the bitch doesn't move herself. I'm supposed to move aside because we got a badass here. Like the fucking meme, like you got a badass here, and the stupid bitch broke her phone because she bumped into me. And it's like that's what your dumbass gets. If you had moved out of the way like a normal human, like the same way I did, your phone would be fine.
No, I never understood that thing. It's like men don't move. It's like, nah, we move. Like I don't see men bumping into each other that often. That means men must move.
I honestly see women bumping into each other all the fucking time. And I'll never forget one time I was standing with a girl I was dating at the time. We're walking behind these people, and this woman is like charging down the street. He charges past me. I kind of move out of her way. She bumps into this guy. And the guy looks up and he pushes the fucking shit out of her. He pushed her mad hard. She turns around with this shocked look on her face. Oh my god!
Yeah. That shit always got me, cause you will always see, and I'm not gonna lie, it's always women that do some goofy shit, get an appropriate response, and then act like that was the most like if they're out here, if like they smack someone and they get smacked back, they're like, what the fuck? Or they'll call someone stupid, and then when they get called stupid back, they're just like, how dare you? It's like, yo, what?
Yeah, it's like, yo, this guy's like, you stupid ass bitch, you bumped into me. He started cursing her out. And she's looking back at like me and my girlfriend, but mostly at me as if we were I'm just looking at her like, hey, man,
you bumped into him.
You bumped into him. What do you want me to do? You want me to fucking fight him for you? I don't even know you. So like,
shouldn't have bumped into him.
Yeah, he's right. That was my after she left, I said those exact words like you should have bumped into him. Should have bumped into him. And they're like, oh man, he didn't. I don't even think he even heard me. But I did say it mad loud. But I think he was just too heated. See, because he was mad.
Would you not be mad?
Yeah, because even I've had this like when that dude and I laughed at that dude when the midget shoulder checked me. I thought that was funny. Not even shoulder.
I remember that because like you moved over and then he he did it on purpose. I was looking at him. I was like, what the fuck was that?
I thought it was funny. I was like, okay,
whatever. What the fuck was that?
Bro, because we're walking down the street and it's a crowded street. So Gio moves over a bit, but like there's not infinite space to move over. So he moves over a bit. And this guy who clearly sees him, because I look down at him. So I literally look down. But I look down at him and he just he does it on purpose. Like I swear he's just like, I was like, yo, what the fuck was that? And then it was like, imagine a kid hitting you.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. Because literally, he wasn't tall enough to shoulder check me. So he hit my bicep. Like I said, he bicep checked me.
Bro, like
It was
the
like
top of his
bottom
head
the bicep.
hit your fucking elbow, bro. It
You gotta
was
let him have that. You gotta let him have
Yeah,
that.
it's like it should have been like some shit. It's like, hey, did you feel something? It's like-
feels
but
like rain.
feels like great. But yeah, it's like, why is it that like that when somebody wants to embody a certain gender they weren't born, they're allowed to embrace that shit wholeheartedly and do all the goofy shit they want, and no one's allowed to shame them. But you can shame me for trying to be masculine. If I'm trying too hard to be masculine, you can shame me and like act like I have a small dick or something, and that's why I'm doing
Because
it.
you're
But
overcompensating, bro. Obviously, a real masculine
most,
man doesn't need to be masculine. He can sit
yeah,
here and cry and garden and put on makeup and do all that shit. That's not even like I think any of those traits are inherently unmasculine, right?
but
Because like I be out here baking, bro.
I'm just gonna say something. Okay,
I don't give a
putting
fuck.
on putting on drag queen
See, I
makeup.
never said none of that shit.
Yeah, I don't think that's
I never said
masculine.
none of that shit.
That's my personal, but if I'm gonna, put some qualifiers here. In my personal perception of masculinity, right? In
Wouldn't
my
it
view,
technically be literally not masculine because they are trying to be feminine?
that's what I said. What? We live in such muddled times now that like some men really will just like, but no man really does this. Like it's very rare, but we act like it's this thing that just is so common now. It's like, well, some men put on makeup. No, most men don't put on fucking makeup. Okay, like most men don't do that. And even the men that do put on makeup, if they do put on makeup, it will be mainly because of their job. Maybe they're in newscasting or something, or they're in a fucking boy band. But the vast majority of males do not put makeup on their fucking face. But then, like, there'll be, every once in a while, there'll be men who exhibit every other masculine trait, but then they'll wear like very garish, like it's like colorful makeup and that kind of thing. But again, that is very fucking rare. Like it's just not happening as often. Like you're not gonna walk down the street and like ever see that. Like you're gonna meet very few gay men themselves who do that shit. Like it's not that common. Yeah. Heck, even among gay men, you're gonna meet many gay men who are very overtly masculine. But we're exposed to the flamboyant ones, and it just becomes this idea
Excuse me.
that yeah,
You
that
can
like
keep going.
masculinity. What is that? Oh, where it just becomes this idea that like masculinity is so oppressive. It's like no, they're but whatever. I don't know. What do you think about that, EJ? That weird contradiction.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's their win. Um, part of accepting people for being who they are, who they want to be, or you can't really say shit about it. You just have to almost let it happen at times.
Yeah, but then why is it that men can't just be accepted when they want to be overtly masculine? Why are they shamed for that?
I mean, men are accepted for it, but it just depends on who you're around. Um,
True, true.
when it depends on who you're around when you're overtly masculine. But it's definitely accepted because if it wasn't, then you know, we wouldn't see it so often.
Yeah. I mean, I actually don't see it as often. I actually don't think men act as overtly masculine now as they might have. I feel like there will be moments when they will exhibit typically masculine behaviors, but like for the most part, I feel like many men try. I don't know if like, wait, can you say something? I don't know if they can hear that on
Yo,
stream. Yeah, we have to listen to the fucking video later and see if we can actually hear that. But um, yeah, when it comes to like, it's like some men are, they'll exhibit masculine behaviors occasionally, right? But for the most part, I feel like men actually these days strive very hard to be non-threatening and actually try very hard to not appear overtly masculine. You know what I'm saying? Because there's such a negative trait, like
nah,
negative stereotype associated with it. Well, we gotta
nah,
remember
I don't agree with that. But in my line of work and
that's
being
what I'm
being
saying. Remember,
around,
we're around a lot of black men, and black men tend to not do that. They tend to try and be as masculine as possible.
yeah. So maybe it doesn't help in my life experience, but when we're speaking about men in general. But I see that shit all the time, and it'd be disgusting to me because it's just like because like I said, there's a healthy dose of masculinity, but you got people that take it to the extreme, or they're trying to compensate for something, or they're trying to prove something, instead of just like bringing that into a situation where it's just not needed. You don't need to do that.
Well,
So
is that really masculinity or just them being aggressive, them being an asshole?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. I don't know that person well enough to know if they're like that 100% or
Oh no, I'm saying
yeah.
like masculinity as a concept in general. Like we were saying when people conflate just being a domineering piece of shit with masculinity in general, you know? Because like imagine
It's not always domineering though. It's not always I'm not even talking about the aggressive part. It's the things they say. It's the it's the it's almost like that too cool for school type of attitude.
oh that
Um yeah, it's like or even when guys talk about their glory days and how many chicks they ran through, like that to them that's like a some kind of masculine flex. Like things like that. It isn't always like, yo, what's up, bro? Like you try to fight? Like it ain't always that. It's just more of like how
people
can
would
I
say that people would even argue that's dominant because that's a competition kind of thing. You're trying to compete with the men around you.
yeah, it's dominant, but I was just talking about the aggression aspect of it. It's
Yeah.
not always like violent or somebody's about to come to blows. It's just more of like it's just like trying to one up the other person, like
Yeah.
trying to show like who's more of a man.
Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty silly. I've never engaged in that behavior in my fucking life. Like I really can't think of any time I sat there trying to actually as a matter of fact, there's this guy we know. And one time he had a me and him were both wearing jean jackets. And or no, me and the guy's other friend were both wearing jean jackets. And the other guy points out, like, oh, you guys are wearing jean jackets. You guys are twins, right? And just making a joke. And the guy looks at you guys, yeah, but mine's just way fire though. Like way more fire though. And
Yeah.
I looked at him and I looked at the other guy, and the guy looks at me and he smirks, and I was like, and in my head, I was like, so silly. I was like, whoa, what a silly guy. That was my first thought. I was like, what a silly guy. I was like, well, I'm not gonna argue with him about this. Like, I don't fucking care. It's like if you want your jean jacket to be more fire than mine's, more power to you. You
Maybe
know?
one of those small victories as if it gives them some kind of currency.
I was like, I do not give a fuck whose jean jacket is more fire. I was like, that's a completely subjective fucking argument. It's like
Yeah.
it was so goofy to me because even literally the only reason I guess he thought his was more like fire is his was bigger. Like his was baggier. It didn't fit him. And it
Jean jacket
was
shouldn't be baggy.
whatever. You know, it was just baggier and it was more blue. Like it was the more of the typical fashions that these white people wear where they try to pretend they're bums, but they're not. You know what I mean? You know how white people do that fake hood aesthetic or the fake homeless thing that they do here in New York City. You guys know what style I'm describing? With the
Yeah.
baggy clothes and the beanies and shit.
Ski mask. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know this motherfucker's parents pay his rent, but he's
Yeah.
sitting there dressed like he's selling crack, you know? Like,
Knew a lot of people like that in high school that dressed that way, and yet they be coming up to me asking me for $1. Like, wow.
yeah.
You can't even afford to pay for your own. I mean, high school is, a lot of people ain't have jobs, but they be they be out here dressing in designer clothes and all that. I'm like,
Mm.
where are you getting all this stuff from that you can't even
I mean,
don't even have $1 to pay for something?
but isn't it insane when these niggas are wearing designer clothes designed to make them look like bums? Like he's like, that's the point of design. Have you ever encountered those? I know
Yeah.
Ray has seen those designer clothes a hundred times. Me and him have had conversations about this. The designer clothes that are designed to look bummy and baggy. You know what I'm talking about, right, Ray?
Yes.
Just that shit boggles my mind. I be looking at those kids just like, Jesus Christ.
They got
What? You know, I'm not
they
gonna
got the
front.
bummy collection, the
Yes,
bummy
they
collection on.
do. They do. They just be, I don't know, man. Women, not women, but people in general are bizarre. But I will say, some of those women look very good in those clothes. It's just but you know they would probably look good in anything though. I think me and Ray had that conversation where it's like the ones who managed to make the aesthetic work are just actually attractive. Like they probably look good if you threw a plastic bag on them. Yeah, but Yeah, I guess we talked about this at length.
What's
We can
next?
move on. What
I
was
think
that?
I'm shorter. What happened? There we go. So what's next?
What's next? I was gonna make a hairline joke, but I decided against it.
Well, you got a hypothetical for us?
I was gonna ask you guys about one more thing.
What's
I
this
think that
last thing?
so part of I think being a man is people try to urge you not to do this, try to urge you to just ignore this kind of stuff. But I wanted to talk about processing pain and how I think processing pain is a huge necessity in evolving as a person, but especially as a man. And I say especially as a man because there's such a stigma for men to process their pain and to understand their pain. What do you guys
Can't
think about
cry. You can't cry. Can't show emotion in the face of adversity.
that? Yeah.
You just got to deal with that and not let anybody see you suffering.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Um, yeah, I mean, dude,
It's just a
is the
fact of life,
question
right?
is the question about the masculinity? Because when you say process pain, are you asking how it is that someone should process pain, like a suggestion, or just how it relates to masculinity?
Well, do you think that men could benefit from trying to process their pain more and trying to understand their pain rather than just trying to ignore it all the time?
See, I never even understood the idea why you had to ignore your pain anyway, because that shit is goofy as fuck, right? It's like, nigga, you hurt. Be hurt. Like,
you
you can't just push that shit away. Like,
you be doing that, bro. Talk
who?
about yourself. You be doing. You be
No, I
doing a
don't.
lot of ignoring,
No,
bro.
no, I
You
don't.
do a
You
lot of ignoring.
actually, you
You wait till you
actually
get
do
to your
not
room
know
and be
who.
like,
You don't know who I am if you really think I'm out here just ignoring
I
this
feel like
shit.
you've done that sometimes, but I don't think it's something you generally do, right? Yeah.
When you're younger, yeah, you probably try
Yeah.
to do that shit, but then I grew out of that shit real quick. I was like, nah, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's fucking dumb.
all right,
It's
but
just
this
I'm
is
not out here overly explaining and crying to every person I know. Like I deal with my shit. Like I'm not even saying you have to deal with it in
you don't deal with it
silence.
in front of
You,
other people, but it's not that
like
you ignore it.
exactly. Like I'm not
Okay.
saying you have to do it the way I do. It's just like I'm
I mean,
comfortable doing it this
I
way.
do think, part like you guys said, it is goofy that people try to just keep that shit inside and act like it's never going to affect them. And I remember I made a video about this kind of about your male tears and saying that no one cares about them. So it's on you. Like the point of the video was that it's on you to process your own pain and to get help if you need it. And then the person's fucking reply was some stereotypical shit about how, oh, that's why I never show a tear to anybody. And shit. I was like, no, you missed the point.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you completely missed the point. You one of the niggas who would shoot themselves in the head now because you sit there trying to tough your way through it. I feel like part of it is I do think having a witness or not even a witness, an audience, like being able to tell people about the things that hurt you is I do think that's necessary. Like being able to vent it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you
I
guys think?
think everybody grieves differently. Um,
Mm.
like obviously people, because usually when they tell people like to express your emotion, it's like sometimes people go to the far end of the extreme and be like, want you to become this bleeding heart, but that just might not be who you are. So I'm not gonna say ignore it, but you don't necessarily have to like, just start showing that to everyone or just um, becoming super vulnerable with it. Another thing is too, like with ignoring it might be helpful for certain people. Like I'm not gonna even completely rule that out. Like I've heard people say that when they're going through a tough time, last thing they want to do is focus on it. And for them to get over it, they
You
need
don't
to go to work or
you don't focus on it, but you should at least be give yourself time
You
to
gotta
think about
process it. You gotta let it happen.
but
You can't just
that's part of the
push it away.
process in it though.
it. Yeah.
That's part of the process and it. Like it's still there, but they don't wanna
Yeah,
they don't wanna
don't sit there
yeah.
thinking about it like for 2 hours and like all but basically I would say assign some time. Like I agree with that 100%. Like, you wake up in the morning and you're like, damn, that thing that happened to me, whatever, 2 days ago really hurt, but I gotta do what I gotta do. I'll deal with that later. And then like after you
Yeah.
finish what you gotta do, you get home, then maybe you sit there and you just think about it. You're just like, damn, that shit was fucked up.
So
Like that was really
I mean, if you can, I don't know if there's too many people that could do that, but if you can honestly ignore that pain and you're not harming yourself later on, like it's
See,
not
I
really
feel like it's not ignoring
eating
it.
you alive.
It's prioritizing. Cause
Yeah.
like say you're a parent and like something hurt you like really bad, but you gotta like take care of your kids. You can't you just cannot at that moment break down and cry because
Yeah,
like you gotta take your kids to school. So you can take your kids to school, do whatever you gotta do, and then the second you're like, all right, I got time to breathe. You can go sit there and take that cry. Like,
take that cry.
yeah, like go ahead and do that. And back to that thing you were talking about before, where he's like, you need some other person. Personally, I prefer telling people about that shit after, right? Like,
Yes, that works.
After you're over it, yeah,
yeah, kind of. Like, it's
Honestly,
not even like
doesn't
necessarily
have
over
to,
it, but it's like, like I like to sit and reflect on my own emotions before I
after
yeah,
after
start
you
talking to
cry,
people.
yeah,
Cause
yeah.
you be saying some
You
goofy
process it
shit when
first.
you're like right there in the moment, and you might
yeah,
like you might not even be saying everything you mean. You might just be rambling.
Oh, sometimes it's so intense. Sometimes you can't help it, and you just gotta tell somebody right fucking away. There are those moments where something really crazy happens to you. You're just like, yeah, I gotta tell
Yeah,
somebody.
but I'm
I
just
gotta
saying
tell
like,
somebody.
yeah,
Yeah,
ignoring your pain, goofy
not
thing.
it,
You
not
gotta
it.
like sit there, deal with that shit. Cause like imagine you broke your arm and you were like, I'm good. Like you fucking sitting there with your arm pain. You're like, nah, I'm good. That's
Like the only way
stupid.
it goes back to what we were talking about. Like it's like let's say you break your arm, but you're in the middle of a fucking snowstorm and you got to get home. Yeah, you're gonna ignore that shit so you can get home. But then as soon as your ass get home, you're like,
yeah,
I gotta fix this fucking arm.
yeah.
I don't know if
I'm,
I mean in my mind you were in a car and I was like, why didn't you drive yourself to the hospital?
no, you're just
But
let's say you're just
if you
out.
broke yourself in your backyard, he's like, I'm gonna get to my house first. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna get to my fucking house. I'm not gonna sit here and cry about this yet. I'm gonna go home. Then as soon as you enter the house, you're like,
He's like, imagine you're like, I gotta get a cup of tea first. Like you just limping. He's like, oh, man, I gotta put the laundry away. I can't deal with this right now. It's fucking goofy.
yeah, I've done that before. Like there was I forgot what it was. There was a time I forgot what happened. I just know I got hurt and I was bleeding. And I remember I just went home. I just just went home. I held on to it till I got home. Then I got home and I was like, then finally I was like dealing with it. I was like,
Mm.
the whole time there I was pretending. I had like my hand in my pocket, pretending, didn't say shit. Um, yeah. Yeah, man. Because you definitely do need to process that pain. If you don't process that stuff, it's not even like in a term of you're gonna hurt yourself, right? Sure, you probably will hurt yourself. That does happen, but there's also a possibility you might start hurting other people because you're
Yeah,
not processing
it boils over, and then
exactly. Yeah, and then
you
now
take it out on other people. Yeah,
exactly. You're getting into fights for no fucking reason. That kind of stuff. You're saying things to people you probably shouldn't have said. Then you're thinking back in a moment, like, why the fuck did I say that?
yeah.
And it's hard to, no one's gonna care if you come at them later talking about, yeah, I was going through some stuff that like a lot of people are just gonna be like, fuck you. Like
I remember that happened to me. Like I don't remember what it was that I was going through. I think it wasn't even nothing serious. I think I was just having like a shit day at the first job that I worked at. And I remember like we was closing up and some guy that I worked with, he came downstairs and I think he was just like he was looking around like he was looking around aimlessly. Like you could tell he needed help, right? Because he was just like confused. And then I remember just being pissed off, not at him, but just being pissed off that day. And then I'm like, "Do you need help?" But the way I said it, like I caught that shit as I went home, and I was just like, I was like, I didn't have to say it that aggressive. And and then the guy, like he didn't it didn't like lead into any like kind of it didn't lead into anything. Like we didn't get into a fight or nothing like that. It wasn't. It was just like, oh, like yeah, I could use the help, or whatever. But if he was the type of guy to not to take offense to that or whatever, that could have just led to some kind of altercation, possibly. I don't know.
not even an altercation, it just hurts his fucking feelings.
Yeah,
He gets
but I had to catch myself after, like later on that day. I was like, damn, I didn't even have to like. It wasn't that bad, but to the way I carry myself, I'm like, that's not, and I don't talk to people like that. So
Yeah, I had a few moments like that in my life
yeah,
where something was pissing me off or something like that,
yeah,
and I blew up on someone else.
it's strange. It's strange. It was like an out of body experience. It was just like,
Yeah,
that's
you
not who I
do.
am.
Yeah, you do it immediately. It's like you don't even recognize yourself after you did it.
Yeah,
It's like, damn, why that was me? Like I said that.
yeah,
Yeah, that happened to me once. I remember I had like a bad game, and these people told me something. I was like, I don't care, and I walked away. And I came back. I was like, no, wait, that was mean. I didn't mean it like that. Like, I meant to say I
yeah.
don't mind, because like they asked me a question, like, hey, does this bother you? And like in my mind, I was like, yeah, I don't care, or like just like chill. But like because I just came off that I was heated in that game. I was like, I don't care. So I had to come back and apologize. Like, yeah, no, I didn't mean like that. That's on me. I'm
I
sorry.
remember one time. I remember one time I got into an argument with someone at work, and where it's like it started off very civil, right? And then but it started getting more and more heated because they were saying like a lot of things that started to piss me off. Remember, this other person came into the conversation, and they said something like, "Oh, oh, you're supposed to like watch what you say. You got to be careful with what you say." And then I turned to them, I was like, "I can say whatever the fuck I want," and then the look on their face. Because I said it mad aggressively, bro. I turned, looked him straight in the eye. I was like, I can say whatever the fuck I want. I was like, nobody can tell me what I can and can't say. And he looked at me
Yeah,
and he was like, I was, then like usually you guys just said, I was like, oh, I mean, I didn't apologize to her. I just turned back to who I was talking to. But
yeah.
after, I was like, damn. It's like, damn, damn, damn. She probably thinks I'm the biggest asshole on the planet.
I feel
But
like sometimes when you're going through the worst of it, everybody just want to come out the woodwork and be in your face. It's like,
yeah, yep. And you're just you're sitting there trying to, you're like, hey, how's it going? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's like
Yeah.
now y'all want to be sociable. Now y'all want to be
And
around and
it's
start
happened,
conversations.
it's happened to me and my mom all the time. I was angry about something was going on. That's when she wanted to be in my face and start trying to talk to me. And then like I start getting, I would try so hard. Like I'm like, it's okay, mom, it's okay. She keeps coming back. Like, mom, it's okay. Then finally I'm like, mom, please, like, can you please, like, can you please? And then now she's acting like I'm an asshole. It's like, come on, man. Like I begged you like 3 times already, and you kept coming back, and now
Yeah,
you're sitting with the dick.
I feel like if people close to you that like really know you, they should know when to like, all right, he going through it right now. Like they should be able to read that.
My
Like,
mom used to be like an instigator. She would see that I'm going to be like, it's like she's now trying to communicate with me because she's like, Giovanni, what's wrong? I'm like, it's okay, mom. I know I'll tell you later. Like, Giovanni, just because somebody did this to you, you don't got to start treatment. I'm like, what the fuck is
Yo, my
going
mom
on?
would do the same shit, bro. I'd be sitting there mad normal, chilling, and my mom's like, you depressed?" I'm like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm fine." And she would keep coming back and asking, "It's like, you all right? You okay?" And I'm just sitting there, like, I was fine, but now that you keep asking me, I am kind of upset. And I'm upset at you, so I don't want to tell you that I'm upset at you. Just leave me the fuck alone.
And then you're the asshole now. Now you're this evil monster, and then they acting like they
yeah,
start, Jamaican parents. That's what I can say.
It's
Jamaican
like,
parents.
yo, just leave me alone. I'm okay.
Yeah. Like I remember one time, like when you're really that's when you get better at processing your anger, sometimes you can or processing your emotion. Sometimes you can easily just say to the person, look, I don't really think we can communicate right now. Like I just just give me a second. Like you get better at that. Like, just
yeah,
give me a second. Like I remember one time I came to work and my mind was reeling. I remember why my mind was like so active, but I needed a second to like rest, right? And I remember the woman turns and one of the girls at work comes and starts talking. She's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine. Just adjusting, just adjusting." And I didn't even look up at her. I was like, "I'm adjusting. Like, give me a second." And this other girl starts trying to start talking to me. I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Look," I was like, "You just give me a second. Give me a second, please. Just give me a second." And then she got the message. Because she really started trying to have a whole ass conversation. And like, come on, like, please, let's not do this right now. And oh man, T-Sock actually. You guys think I'm an evil monster? I'll tell you something goofy and retarded that T-Sock did once. So back when I was in college, I was like the busiest motherfucker on the planet. I had a job in the cafeteria. At the same time, I was still going to all my classes. So it was like I was full time, bro. Like there was really never any time for me to sleep. So the few times I got the chance to sleep, I'd be dead asleep, right? Which is why it would be so annoying to me when that girl I described to you would be in my fucking bed, not letting me sleep in my bed. Because like, bitch, I got a shift in the morning tomorrow. Can you move your ass so I can get some sleep? I remember one day I had a very long day. Like I had this very long shift in the cafeteria. I was fucking exhausted and angry and depressed. Going home, like, man, I really hate that fucking job. I was thinking in my head, I was like, oh, that fucking job sucks so bad. You know what's so funny? I hated that job so much and no one knew. I never told anybody. And I was one of the best workers there. Like the guy who was my boss loved me because he would tell me to do something and I would do it. But I fucking hated it. But I didn't tell that to anybody.
Yeah.
And when people ask me about my job, I'll tell them, oh, it's all right. Right? Like, I never complained about it. And I guess part of it was I was afraid that if I complained about it too much, it would make it worse. I think that's something I used to think to myself in my head. I was like, if I complain about this too often, it's going to make it seem even worse when I go to do it.
It's a good attitude to have.
Yeah. So I would talk about it to myself and very rarely with T-Sock, like tell him about like if it was a really shit day. But one day I come home and I go or come to my dorm. I collapse onto the bed. I'm trying to sleep. This nigga T-Sock, he was in a wheelchair, right? Nigga T-Sock gonna roll in, flick the fucking lights on, flicked on immediately, and then just start talking. And I'm just like, I'm ignoring him. I'm in bed. I'm like, look, if I ignore him long enough, he's gonna stop. But then he didn't. And then it's like now he was doing it on purpose. This motherfucker's like, Gio, are you listening to me? Are you listening to me, Gio? I know you're probably listening to me, so I'm just gonna keep going. And he just he starts doing every
This is mild compared to the shit you did there. Keep going.
Oh, come on,
going.
man.
Keep going.
Nah, it's just annoying.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes this nigga G will come back from wherever he came back on the same show. I was like, I fucking hate this nigga.
This nigga Ray didn't even do anything. So I don't understand why he's trying to. This nigga Ray used to force himself to stay up, being unhealthy as fuck for no reason.
I didn't force myself to do shit, nigga. I just stay up.
But anyways, yeah, when he did that, I was just like, that was one of the reasons why I started making those pranks and stuff on him. Because it was revenge. It was revenge. Like I would kind of bully him before that, but I dialed it to 11 after he did that. I was sitting there in that bed like, all right, nigga, all right, okay, all right, okay. You go see.
This nigga is just an evil motherfucker. Don't let him fool you.
I'm
Was it
telling
no
you,
revenge?
I'm deadass telling you, I sat in that bed like, all right, you go see. Okay, yeah, keep going. Okay, you go see. I've done that to my sister too. She thinks she get away with something. Like, okay, watch. You gonna see. Mm-hmm. Okay. You gonna see. Like the things that I remember one time, I got so much fucking trouble for this. She did something to me earlier, right? I was like, all right. I was like, I'm gonna be petty. I had a plan. I was gonna wait. I waited. And she poured a bowl of cereal. I walked into the cereal bowl, took this pepper thing and started just emptying the pepper in the cereal. And then I sat there. I was just chill watching her. She starts eating the cereal. She starts eating the cereal. It's completely normal at first. Then she's still going.
They started stripping up.
Then she eats some more, even though it's burning her. And I'm laughing.
Why would she eat more?
And suddenly she sees me laughing after I noticed. Like I was on some light Yagami shit at first with the no, I can't laugh yet. Like when he was fucking smirking. I'm trying to fight it. And then when she starts starts crying, I start laughing. And then when she sees me laughing, she now knows it was me. And then she went and started crying to my mom. She's like, Mom! Like she's dying. And my mom whooped my ass.
That's how that story ends.
But even when she whooped my ass after I did something like that, I would still be. It's like Android fucking one. You know that meme of the Android where he's just a head but he's still smiling. That was me. That was me. Like, yeah. I still won the war though. It was like I won the war. Oh man.
But how could she prove that you did that? You know what I'm saying?
You can't prove
Like,
it, but you know.
yeah.
It's like, yo, there's like 3 people in the house. Come on. It wasn't mom. It wasn't mom. It wasn't me.
I'm denying, bro. Denying that the moms, bro.
I
Like,
did.
yo.
I think I did lie. I think I
To
did
be
try to
honest,
lie.
Bro, it
It's
couldn't have
exactly.
been me. But it was like, everyone's
No, I
gonna
don't
look at
think
you
I
like,
lied. What my mom used to hate about me is I wouldn't lie. I would sit there trying to make these logical things. I was like, could she like what EJ said pretty much? I was like, how could she even know it was me? I was like, how did like she could have dumped it in there herself? I was like, she has. And I'll do these things, and she gets so angry at me. That would piss her off even more when I started doing that.
when your mom's about to whip your ass, did she have to chase you around the house, or you was just like accepting it, like, all right,
When I was younger, she'd have to chase me. When I was older, now I just sit there
like, all right.
and wait. And then when you get really older, you're just like, and then they get mad at you from that. Oh, or like what she used to do. When my sister would have to do what you'd hit her. Like my mom, you know when the parents are beating you, and then like you're not crying, so they get mad and they slap you harder. So my sister, this shit was so funny to me. I would see her doing it, and I'd be smirking. My sister would get beaten, and she'd start pretending, and it was obvious that she was pretending because she'd start really overdoing it. She's like, ah! That shit used to kill me. Like, yo, I was like, yo, and my mom, you look at the look on my mom's face. She's pleased with herself. She's like, yeah. Oh my god.
You have to
Oh,
put that L sign on your forehead, like, yeah, she about to whip my ass. It's all right.
so you're just like, it's like
Yeah.
you turn like one of the animals from the Flintstones. Well, it's a living. It's like there's nothing you can do. Oh man, Jesus.
Good
But then,
times. Good times.
yeah, yes. But eventually she had to stop because she would hit me and I'd just be like, she'd like take a bell or something and go, and I'd just be like, did you do it again?
it's like, look at the monster you've created.
I was like, are you done? Are you done? And there was a
Man,
time I did say something like that to her, like, are you done?
did you get it all out? Any
Yeah. Okay.
anything left? Any other? Just get it
Oh,
out. Just get it out now. Just get it out now. Yeah.
yeah. Geez. That's why she tried to catch me when I wasn't paying attention. That's why. Because if I was ready for it, it's not going to hurt anymore. You know, you tense up and you prepare. Yeah. I like how I'm just talking about this casual abuse. Like it's nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess it's another episode. We could talk about beating your fucking kids and if whether or not that's necessary.
Hey man, I got my ass whooped a ton growing up, so it was real, man. Parents had to do what they had to do to keep their kids in check, even though it wasn't always necessary.
Jeez. Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing like bringing a family together than ass whooping.
You gather around the fire for the daily whooping. Just
It's like, nigga, did I just catch you wanting to be something? Oh my god. Jeez. Anyways, you got a hypothetical for us, or are we just gonna break out?
No, I don't got one today. I'm slacking.
Guess we'll just break out.
Just
See
like
this,
the
guys? EJ claims he got whoopings, but it doesn't look like he got enough.
Yeah, but real quick, y'all ever got whooped coming out the shower?
no.
Yes.
like as soon as we came out the bathroom, like
Yes.
damn, at least like put some clothes on.
Yes. Yes, my mom has done that before. Yeah.
Like you ain't even fully dry yet. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, I can imagine the extra water stings, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, I had that happen. I'm like, damn, bro.
All right. Catch y'all niggas later.
What? You didn't even give us a chance to talk, man.
That was me telling you to say the thing.
No, I had another topic written.
No, you don't. Get the fuck up. Get the fuck up. This nigga's out here lying, bro.
Vanguard. Oh no. Catch you same bad place. Same bad time. Also, keep your eye on the dot. Vanguard out.